Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with a disc that's been kicking around, 10 years or so, 9 years, who knows. But I've wanted to talk about it because it's really, really, really enjoyable. It's this, Jaromir Weinberger, some orchestral music that's not the thing we always expect from Jaromir Weinberger, who's only known for one thing right now. His opera Schwanda der Dudelsackpfeifer, Schwanda the Bagpiper, which contains the famous polka and fugue, which actually is a choral set piece in the opera. And it was later arranged for orchestra, and I played it endlessly in the band arrangement. You know how it goes, right? Ya da 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 ba da 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 yum ba dum ba dum bum bum. That's the polka. And the fugue is ya da 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 dum bum bum ba da 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 dum ya da 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 da. And the interesting thing about it, when you hear the band arrangement, and all these are the orchestral version, is that the opera is actually, it's supposed to be folky, but it's also kind of folky, encrusted, chromatic, late romantic, quasi-decadent. It's fun. It's fun. It's very richly orchestrated. But he wrote a lot of other music. He also, the other piece that we hear once in a while, in a billion years, it was recorded, in the past decade or two, was the variations on Under the Spreading Chestnut Tree, variations on an Old English tune. He died in 1967 of suicide. He had brain cancer. He had spent much of his career after the 1920s in the United States teaching at Cornell, and he was living in St. Petersburg, Florida at the time of his passing. But there's a lot of orchestral music that people don't know. His music has, you might call it some of that Eastern European jeu d'esprit. Is that the word? I don't know if that's the word, but it's rhythmic and bouncy, and sometimes it has a sense of humor, a little bit tongue-in-cheek. And this disc contains 3 really fine works that are worth listening to. Number 1 is the Overture to a Chivalrous play, Overture zu einem ritterlichen Spiel from 1931. And it's one of those pieces that's exactly sort of the way I described it. It's 8 minutes and a bit, and it has a heraldic character. There's lots of fanfares and things like that give it a noble knightly quality, but it has its tongue firmly in its cheek. It's a delicious little work. Really would grace any concert program as a curtain raiser. It really would. Then we've got 6 Bohemian songs and dances from 1929. Now, this was originally written for violin and piano and later orchestrated. If you like, the Slavonic dances by Dvorak, or Janáček's Lachian dances, for example, or any of those, Slavic dance things, even Bartók's dance suite. There's billions of them, right? You're going to like this. The tunes are lovely. The scoring is very, very attractive. It doesn't have, like I said, Weinberger's music is often a little bit, late romantic, decadent. It doesn't quite have that rhythmic pep of the romantic nationalists of the 1860s, 70s, 80s, those people. But it's still absolutely delightful and extremely enjoyable. And then last but not least is a very serious work, his Passacaglia for organ and large orchestra, which actually has 4 movements: an entrada, a chorale, the Passacaglia itself, and a concluding fugue. And if you know Schwanda der Dudelsackpfeifer, then concluding fugues will be no secret or difficulty. The fugue subject actually is quite gnarly, but as you might expect in works of this type, the chorale is very, very beautiful and solemn, and it's going to come back at the end, combined with the fugue subject, which works really well. Actually, chromatic slush and sort of modal tonal things kind of go well together in contrapuntal structures. Which this is. The organ part is exciting and fun to listen to. And I think it's a very, very enjoyable work. It's pretty substantial. It's how long is it? 4. How's that? It's 12, 13, 14, about 15, 16 minutes long. And definitely worth an outing. There aren't that many wonderful works for organ and orchestra that we ever hear. There's Saint-Saëns Organ Symphony. There's the Jongen Symphony Concertante that people haul out once every 12,000 years. There's the Widor symphonies and whatnot. But this is a real novelty and extremely enjoyable. And the performances are very good. It's the Deutsches Symphonie-Orchester Berlin, which is excellent, as we know, under Gerd Albrecht, who is always reliable in unusual repertoire. The label is Capriccio. The sonics are quite fine. If you're curious about, the output of Weinberger, and why wouldn't you be? If you know the Polka and Fugue or Under the Spreading Chestnut Tree or any of his other works, you're going to want this. I was very happy to pick it up for my collection, and it's been sitting there stewing in its own juice for quite a few years, and now I have an opportunity to talk about it again. So I'd give it a shot, or download it, or stream it. I streamed it, actually, and I have the CD. And I spent a couple passes back and forth from work recently, reacquainting myself with this disc, and I still find it holds up extremely well. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks so much for joining me. Take care.